Hi, and welcome to the Votive Kit instructions. So here's a lovely example of a votive that you can make. It fits a tea light perfectly, but it's also a nice little holder for other things if you desire. You're going to have a piece of glass like this in your kit. You're going to be working on it flat, and once it comes back to me and into the kiln, I'm going to fire it first flat so that it's one solid piece, and then it goes back into the kiln a second time, sits over a form and bends down due to gravity and heat in the kiln. So that's how we're going to get this shape. For your purposes, you can use whatever you want in the kit and create whatever design you want. You don't have to do flowers. You can do any shapes or patterns that you like. I strongly suggest watching the glass cutting introduction video. That's going to show you how to do these circular shapes for these flowers, but it's also going to show you how to use other shapes, how to make other shapes using the ruler and the Sharpie marker that's included in your kit. You're going to have lots of different pieces of cut glass to work with. I'm just going to show you another option if you decide you don't want to use cut glass, or if in addition to the cut glass you'd like to use the crushed glass, what we call frit, that's also included in your kit. So I have some lovely stringers in here that I'm going to take out. And I'm going to put on, you've got safety glasses in your kit. I'm going to put on my glasses. So anytime we're breaking glass, even when it's these little stringers, you want to make sure you've got your safety glasses on. So I'm going to lay out a design, just remembering that this design, when it's formed, is going to fold up. So sort of this is going to be the bottom of my votive, and then all the way around the outside are going to be the edges that I'll see most prominently. So if I were to lay these pieces out, the first thing I would do is grab my little tacky glue jar here and, woo, it's flying down, and dip the end of my stringer in to the tacky glue so that it sets. That's all you need. You don't need a lot of glue for these projects. The less the better. So just a tiny bit, and that'll set it where we want. You can walk away at this stage and let those dry, or you can keep going because it's just going to keep it from rolling around as you're working. Now I've got a whole bunch of different crushed glass. I'm just going to pour some out as an example. In here, I should have a spoon, yes, and I'm going to spoon out some of the crushed glass. This is an interesting multicolor combination. So I can do any sort of designs. It's not sharp, so I can use my finger. Don't rub your fingers together. You might get a splinter, but it's perfectly fine to sort of scooch it around using your finger. I like to use the spoon instead of pouring out of the jar, because pouring out of the jar can result in the whole jar being dumped onto your piece and ruining the other things that you've done. So you've got your frit in place, and maybe I want to put some confetti in as well. They're all different colors of frit, by the way, all different shapes and sizes included in your kit, so you can have lots of fun with that. You can use the confetti just by breaking it in your fingers. You can see it makes a little bit of a mess, but you can rub off what you don't want and then place down what you do. I sometimes will break over the jar so that all the little bits go in there if I don't want them. If you don't mind your extra little bits, you can break right over and it'll just keep adding to the look. So these little confetti pieces are fun. It's super thin glass, and as you can see, it's easily just broken in your fingers. So that's another option. And then also included in your kit is a little jar of beads. You're welcome to add those in as well. They will stay quite bumpy on your glass, so make sure you don't put any beads on the bottom, just along the top if you want to add beads. Once you're finished the whole thing, beads, you'll use the tacky glue. There's a little toothpick in there that you can put a little skim of the tacky glue under the bead to hold it in place. As for the frit, obviously you can't glue each individual piece of frit, so it's super easy. You've got a thing of hairspray in here, and you're just gonna spray over the frit when you're totally done. That will set. Don't put too much, because then it starts to become soup and swim around. Just enough to set it in place. You'll know, because when you're done, it'll be rock solid, it won't move. Then you can place your finished piece back into your bin. You're going to clear everything else out of your bin and put it into the plastic bag to come back to the studio, including any glass that you haven't made, haven't used. You've been given tons of extra glass so that you have lots of options, but in order to keep costs down, you need to bring that glass that you didn't use back with your project. So the project, there's a little bit of painter's tape stuck to the bottom. You're going to stick just the edges of the glass down to the bottom of the bin here so that it doesn't run around in there while it's being transported back to the studio. And that's it. You can do whatever you like. Play around with different designs. It's a really fun project, and it looks so pretty when it's done. Have fun.